5 seconds to go. Start. She added that it rather does not fall in any of the provisions of the Act of 2001, and hence the petition cannot lie before the rent tribunal. The respondent landlord, if advised, can maintain a suit before the civil court she submitted. Mr. Sahani, learned counsel, appearing for the respondent, vehemently submitted that the contentions raised in the petition have no substance in the eye of law, and the same have been raised only with a view to protract the eviction proceedings, inviting court's attention towards section 18 of the Act of 2001. Learned counsel argued that there is a clear and complete exclusion of jurisdiction of civil courts, hence no dispute between a landlord and a tenant can be tried by a civil court. He contended that true it is that the respondent's case does not fall in any of the contingencies mentioned in section 9 of the Act of 2001, but the proviso to section 18 of the Act of 2001, which clearly stipulates that in cases where chapter 2 and 3 do not apply, the tribunal shall have due regard to the provisions of Transfer of Properties Act 1882 and Indian Contract Act 1872 or any other substantive law having bearing on the question does not confer a jurisdiction to rent tribunal. In order to give strength to his argument that a petition seeking eviction on the ground of expiry or determination of lease can be tried by the rent tribunal and the tribunal alone, he cited following judgments of this court: Nalin Mehta versus State Bank of India, SB, Civil Writ Petition number 3076 of 2004, decided on 11th July 2005. Raiza Bano versus Inayat Ali, SB, Civil Writ Petition number 8654 of 2012, decided on 16th January 2013, and Gyaneshwar Bhatti versus Balu Ram and others, reported in AIR 2009, volume 96, Rajasthan 94, heard, while avoiding reproduction of clauses A to M of section 9 of the Act of 2001, it would be apt to reproduce only the relevant part of section 9 of the Act of 2001 for ready reference, notwithstanding anything contained in any other law or contract, but subject to other provisions of this Act, the rent tribunal shall not order eviction of tenant unless it is satisfied that it will also not be out of context to reproduce section 18 of the Act of 2001. Jurisdiction of rent tribunal, notwithstanding anything contained in any other law for the time being in force in the areas to which this Act extends, only the rent tribunal and no civil court shall have jurisdiction to hear and decide the petitions relating to disputes between landlord and tenant and matters connected therewith and ancillary thereto, filed under the provisions of this Act, provided that rent tribunal shall, in deciding such petitions to which provisions contained in Chapter 2 and 3 of this Act do not apply, have due regard to the provisions of Transfer of Properties Act 1882, Act number 4 of 1882, the Indian Contract Act 1872, Act number 9 of 1878, or any other substantive law applicable to such matter in the same manner in which such law would have been applied had the dispute been brought before a civil court by way of suit. Stop.